All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Orb on the Movements of the Earth, episode 5. Please.
Yes.
It was the please that caught my memory.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is where it all goes bad.
Right. We know that they're headed up the mountain as of, what was shown at the beginning of the episode.
We know that doesn't go too great.
That doesn't go too well here.
Yeah.
But he has evidence. And that's enticing.
And
the truth is enticing.
Indeed. And when you're curious, it just eats away at you, you know? And so now they're going to find out. They're going to find out a whole lot.
Yeah. And this is where the story can fill in a pattern here.
Sure.
Do we want to show how this person ends up making a mistake and is also inevitably caught? Or is this the story of the actual protagonist that then goes and carries forth the legacy of so many people and changes their life, goes into a much larger world? Who's to say? Who's to say?
My money is that these people will not go the distance. They will go far, they will pass the baton, but inevitably they will also, it'll catch up to them. They'll be killed.
Okay. So inevitably meaning at some point.
I don't think here.
Well, I'm talking about like in a few episodes. Are you talking like in a few years? Are you talking like a decade? What are you talking about
I
here?
think in the next 5 to 8 episodes at most.
Oh, you think it's going to go a decent bit of time?
Yeah,
okay,
I think it'll go for a bit. But
okay, because I don't think there's any indication of whether it's going to be 2 episodes or the rest of the series.
Right, yeah, that's entirely conjecture on my
I think
point.
at this point, the story has hinted nothing towards either in that regard.
Right.
I think that the point being that you're making is that he will end up being another martyr, basically, for heliocentrism.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but it's just what then will Oxy and probably Gruss, but I get more of a vibe that Oxy's a little bit more important of a character.
Yeah, he does
in that regard.
He does seem to be more of the protagonist in this situation, even though Gruss is the one that's moving things along.
At the moment, yeah. But yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Even if I die, this world will continue.
Well.
Huh? Yeah, but we always known he wasn't, one of them.
Right. Oh.
Shit.
Just like that. Okay.
Dang.
Just like that.
He's going for the horse? Yeah.
All right.
Holy
all right.
shit!
Just like that.
Novak, you are terrifying! That was in the dark with the rain. He had just hopped off. He had one shot.
Probably some wind, too.
That was easily 75 feet away.
And he's just dead. Okay.
Oh. He's gonna go with a thing of this guy!
Or my partner started acting weird.
Whoa. Yeah. He's ready to kill me.
He's not gonna panic. He's not gonna flinch.
He pulled out a rule.
He actually has it with him.
Exercise your own judgment. What's that supposed to mean? Oh my god. Well, chase is on.
Right. Here it goes. No way!
Throwing a curved sword!
The luck is so cool. Okay. Okay.
Right, right.
Nice.
They don't have the brains for heresy. Wow.
Cool. Okay.
What a crazy, just wild sequence of
Just
events.
crossbow. Oh, all right. Horse is dead. You know, the whole wagon topples,
All right.
of course.
I'll kill this trained killer here.
Yeah, yeah.
Killer surrenders because he realizes, nah, I'm not gonna be able to win here.
Right.
No, here's the clearing.
Yep. Okay.
But the idea that they are not necessarily educated enough to read, so they wouldn't even know
Right.
what they're holding on to necessarily.
But Gross could probably look at the drawings of the planets and
oh
things
yeah,
like
no,
that.
no, no. Okay, no, they can
Okay.
do basic stuff here. So they're
Probably.
so maybe Novak also is potentially like
Oh,
giving
he
them
can read?
a break, you know?
ある時視界や高度を考慮しここ一帯で一番の観測地を見つけたすると不思議なことに気づいた
They're little carvings.
Gotcha. Okay.
そしてそれに対応するように二つの岩の間にちょうど向かいの山の中腹が見える一体そこに何が
Nice.
And the only kinds of people that would be looking around there with any kind of intensity are people that are natural stargazers.
Right.
So they would find this.
Yeah.
もしこの発見のせいで
Wow.
私が死んだとしてもこの発見のおかげで私は幸福な命だったと断言できる
So that guy was totally working alone.
Uh-huh.
And suddenly he doesn't look so mad and crazed.
Right.
そっちの手紙には何と読めません文字ちゃん
Okay, so he can't read,
Okay.
but Gras can.
なんだ
Fun.
Okay.
Cool. Chapter 2, meaning like, okay,
Yeah.
this is our second story. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Probably a good idea to get rid of it.
しかし
Yeah, then I'm
Send
going
it
to hold
fully
on
into
to it.
the...
私が引き継ごうさあ行くぞ
Okay.
Maybe wear it inside your shirt, you know?
Yeah.
なおこれにより利益が生じた場合その1割を音月に贈与すること
Oh.
協力は心強かった
You got a name, though.
書物について
Yeah.
は察するに天文学のものだろうだが肝心の内容はラテン語や
Ah, so that's what Novak
Right.
was talking about. The difference
Cool.
between the common language versus the
Versus
language of,
Yeah.
the elite.
この記録の量を見るにただの思いつきやわら話じゃない
No.
Sure.
本気の何かだろう
Time and energy.
実は一人心当たりがある私が惑星について尋ねた修道
Oh,
Okay.
This is the character from the opening.
Yeah.
彼は少し前に左遷されてな理由は素行不良と思想上の禁
Oh.
Okay.
Fun. Okay.
Not heretical, just contrarian.
I love the idea, though, of like our ensemble cast we're slowly building here.
この先もついていく必要
Right.
あんまないというか
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you want out of life? What's your reason for this? Yeah.
Huh.
二人の方が安全なので同行していただけるとありがたいが
Wow.
では
He might have just changed his life right there.
Oh, he for sure did.
Well, again, depending on if it's going to get him killed or if it's you're going to have your eyes opened.
Right.
空が見られる
Yeah.
Right.
怖くて昔教わった
Good that you're talking about this, though. Because that was so insidious.
大地に生きている人間を蔑むような目に見て
Well, that'd be terrifying.
Yeah, we saw the image of that in the previous episode. It was freaky.
というかむしろ
I loved. Yeah, I was gonna say like I loved it. Like
Yeah.
もう一度空を見たいとは思わないのかい。だが私も昔家族を失ってね、好きなものを失う辛さはわかるよ。
damn.
それに比べたら
Yeah, bringing that in a comparative manner.
きっとグラスさんの場合は失われてませんよ。
Yeah, it's easy to live
天国
in
にいるはずです。
you know
天国で再会できますよ。
in oppression as long as you never look up.
私が失ったのはこの世に希望を感じる心だ。
And that's living, having any kind of hope.
Sure.
難しいことかもしれないが、もう一度この世を肯定したいんだ。
I don't want to live in a world that isn't beautiful.
Yeah.
君はもう完全にこの世を諦めてしまっているのか。
Just about.
しかも人はどうせすぐ死んで天国か地獄へ行くので、そっちを気にするべきです。
This is one of the major problems with religion. Is it makes
Yep.
you deny all the physical things and then you end up just taking a pill and killing yourself. And yeah.
死後に残るのは自分抜きの世界だけだ。
But until then,
Yeah, it's just a privilege to live in a world and basically ignore the suffering side of things because life is pain. So in a
right.
lot of ways, that's what makes the idea of heaven so enticing to some people.
ここまでは私が無理やり巻き込んだ。だからここからは君に選んでほしい。今回の経緯と石箱のことを教会に通報する。そうすれば町に戻れるかもしれないし、二つ目は
Oh, well,
Damn.
just like that.
Why'd they have to point out, like, this bridge looks great? Yeah.
二つ目を手短に言う。二つ目は一つ目全部無視してこの世界に期待することだ。
Yeah.
Now, he could totally survive that fall.
What? Oh, I love it.
何してる。このままでは二人とも死ぬ。それはダメだ。あの異端が命を張れたのはきっと隠す相手がいたからだ。でも私が死んでもこの世界はそれが喪失まみれのこの世界から生まれたある種の希望だ。
Bro, this is not the way.
Yeah.
俺がやる保証なんて全くない。その通りだ。
Okay, alternatively, take a deep breath and go for a swim.
It might not be deep enough.
君の顔はまだ死を恐れてるからだ。
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's not certain about this at
Oh,
all.
absolutely.
It's not a... Damn.
これが私の運命だ。
Okay. Well,
This guy has some insane luck.
uh-huh. Good luck, bud.
And also some cursed luck in another way of looking at it,
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
Yeah, here he is.
Okay.
すみません。お客さんですよ。バデーニさん。何の用で。
The eyes, the necklace, the book, everything. It's like, oh, okay. All
Okay.
right. Oxy is alone.
Yep.
He has survived this whole situation by the skin of his teeth in the luckiest and most convenient of ways.
Like he's Obi-Wan saying, in my experience, there's no such thing as luck, you know.
No, it's the there's no hope in this world. It's corrupt. It's awful. And somehow I've just survived it over and over and over and over again.
Right.
Almost like there's this fate just guiding me towards this
Exactly.
point where I will then be able to pass on or receive the torch to then be passed on of heliocentrism. Very, very wild setup here. If you ignore a lot of the conveniences of it, we have basically a man who's denied everything about this world, having the world almost scream at him that you're
must do
valuable.
this.
No, you matter.
Oh, okay.
Like, your life means something. Like, don't try and just throw it away.
Yeah,
Stop throwing it away. Watch
Sure.
as all these other people sacrifice their lives believing that it means something because they're setting you up. Like,
Sure.
it's crazy when someone does something very selfless for you that like saves you or protects you or covers for you in some way, and you go, whoa, that means something. But can you imagine what it would be like to have within like a 24 or a week period, 24 hour to a week period, having two people basically sacrifice their life for you?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that would be wild, and especially if you're in a situation like this guy is, where it's the, life is suffering. I have no worth.
Right. He believes in God, kinda, but it's more that he believes in the salvation, kinda, of death.
Right.
But he's also afraid of dying.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
he himself is a massive walking contradiction of, I don't believe in my ability to choose correctly because I'm a part of this corrupt world, but I also want to move forward. I want to continue on because he's human. He can't ignore his fear. It's crazy to think that that's kind of the thing that's kept him alive all this time, is that basically he's just scared enough. He's just enough sense to not fight Novak, to not
and when Novak is like, oh, okay, I'm just going to kill you, to be like, oh shit, okay, yeah.
Right.
I'm in danger, I need to get out of here, right?
Right, but this world is corrupt, Oxy. I thought heaven was your salvation, right? So if you were a bad person, you should confess now and die. Like,
well, I think the thing is that he believes in heaven, but
I'm mocking his faith in a lot of ways here. I'm not being serious.
No. I think it's that he believes in heaven, absolutely. He also believes that he is a terrible person, that he's going to go to hell. So the fact that heaven exists isn't he's more hoping that heaven exists so that the people that he kills will at least hopefully go there, so that what he did isn't bad.
I get that. But the reason why he's continuing on with, at the very least, parroting this stuff is because he does hope in some way that he'll be, like, there will be some value in him being able to go beyond this.
Sure. Like in believing that heaven exists and therefore the people that he kills go there, then it's not as bad that he kills people, and so then maybe there's some hope that he'll end up there.
Yeah, I mean, he has to hope that in some way. I mean, maybe that is the point, is that he's so completely given to despair,
and that's why he has no self-value,
But he's afraid. He's survived.
Right. Oh yeah, survival instincts are a hell of a thing.
Survival instincts are a hell of a thing. So
pain sucks, and even if you think you deserve death, well, doesn't necessarily mean you want to get run through by a sword.
And I think this episode was oddly paced because we were trying to show in such a fast way how much he's able to change given enough circumstances, putting him into these positions where he has to make these choices.
Right.
And so he is already a different person than when we started the episode with.
Yes,
he's already
absolutely
adapted in a crazy way to then be able to go and, while the choice was kind of made for him, he then did go to Botany and was like, I have the things here.
Right.
What do I do next?
Yeah, exactly. He still is very much searching for direction, but at the very least, he's not the reluctant protagonist anymore. And I want to point out something that I think is really cool. So, the idea of heliocentrism and stuff, right? That's something where, yes, it totally made sense in the first 3 episodes having Rafal as our protagonist because he's a brilliant boy and he'd be able to progress all this stuff and understand it and all of those things. Rafal dies. Okay, now we have a character who doesn't even know how to read, right? So he's got a book that he's going to go to this person to be like, hey, could you read this to me, right?
Or like teach me how to read.
Or yeah, sure. If he's like, oh, this is, I don't know if I can trust someone to actually read this. But that's something where now us as the audience, the people who are basically being brought into this world, we had that introduction with Rafal where we got that big picture kind of look of things.
Yep.
And now we have the opportunity to get the super small, like zoomed in perspective, right? Limited information, introduction to this world and, heliocentrism and all that stuff.
Because we know the scope of where things can go.
Exactly.
We are then more invested in the journey of this guy going to
Right.
that point to
Now-
kind of catch up to Rafal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just think that's really cool structurally because it's there are certain things that get finicky, especially if the main character of a sort for this story is the truth of the world. That I could see that being tough to handle if you aren't
And it's
able
not
to.
really the main character. It's just
Yeah,
it's just the main theme. Like it's
Right.
it's the theme of human nature and truth battling against fear, basically.
Sure.
Like human nature will basically take fear and master it to eventually be able to survive. Like you will utilize the fear when it's necessary in order to avoid the fire, the fall,
Right.
the wolf in the night, or what
Yeah,
have
which
you.
is why it stands out so much when someone gives their life for you.
Right. But then the mastery of it, does that lead towards something, or does that just have you be able to tap into fear when it's necessary, or the ability to stand and say, I believe in heliocentrism,
Right.
and
Yeah.
ignore the fear or choose truth beyond that fear there. So I like that he right now is mastered. No, he is, fear has mastery over him.
Right.
He is operating mostly in complete submission to it. And funnily enough, that's also his god in a way right now. It's just a being that has pointed at, it's a vessel by which his fear can be understood, in that it's a,
Okay,
I have a thing that I don't know what it will lead to, death basically, and I know that I'm a dealer in death, so I've had to,
Rationalize that as best I
rationalize
can.
it. Yeah.
And now I'm really excited to get into this because I feel like now here we have sort of the proper reintroduction into
Sure.
the story.
Yes.
Because us getting to know Oxy and Gross and there a little bit over the last 2 episodes, that's kind of like all right, we're thrown back into the world, but this is where we can like maybe slow the pace down as he's just figuring out who he is, what he believes, what this whole book is, who
Yeah.
this monk is that he's now going to be very dependent on because they hold your life in their hands. You know.
And I like that in a lot of ways we're getting this guy soon, because the way he was set up in the opening, I thought he was going to be an older Rafal.
Right.
But Rafal died, so clearly not.
that. Yeah.
But the idea that he could fill a similar structural role of being, in this point in the story, a character who's going to know enough about things, but also knows how to be tactful. And if this guy's going to be reinventing
Yeah.
himself and rebuilding himself from the ground up, I love the idea of let's go into isolation, let's put you in a quiet place, let's have you look at your nature, your soul, like who you are, and be
Right.
like, okay,
Ooh.
what do I want to become?
Crazy idea. But what if he actually ends up being? Did you ever hear of the story about the old guy that basically was a drug mule, and he was so good at it because nobody suspected the old grandpa in the pickup truck? What if that's where Oxy actually has a big impact? Is because he doesn't know how to read, right? So nobody is going to suspect him of being some heliocentric heretic, right? And then he could basically be the person that brings the materials to all of the people that could then actually do something with it. And that's where
They're like,
basically...
what does this say? And he's like, I don't know.
Right, exactly. Because
Yeah.
the big limitation that we had here, and it was even gone over, is, okay, even if you are able to leave it to the next person, it's not going to be an organized movement. It's just going to be one other person that will have, calculations to add or adjust that could be right, could be wrong, who knows, right? And that's not actually going to become something that's widespread, and at any point it could just get snipped and then it goes nowhere, right?
Right.
So we really need it to spread, and I feel like he could end up, weirdly enough, being the perfect person to help do that.
Yeah, he could be the carrier, if
Right.
you will,
Yeah.
of this viral,
Idea.
movement and idea. Yeah. I do love the point to which Gruss kind of gave him the, you have a choice here.
Right.
Like, you've already kind of decided a little bit to despair, but I can tell that's not actually something you've even fully decided on. It's just the one that makes the most sense that's in front of you. It's such a powerful thing to have a character acknowledge in almost such an overt way to another character that like I need you to decide for me in this regard, because Gross in that regard doesn't really necessarily know Oxy that well, but once he asked him that, he's like, oh, I understand you a lot more now, because most people don't ask that.
And certainly not of the person that, you know, just recently was threatening to kill them.
Well, in extenuating circumstances, I would say it makes more sense. I'm just talking about it in the best of sense. What here? Most people have too much ego to ask that question. Because, in general, you want to feel like you have control over your life. But this guy has so little belief in his control over anything, because he's like, no, God controls everything, and I'm just gonna die eventually, and I'll either go to heaven or hell, and there's no way to know for sure here. Maybe I can.
All I can do is believe,
or I can do enough good things here that maybe some priest will say a new thing that will overwrite my, belief system or what have you, which then makes it actually really fun that he's going to not a disgraced priest, but basically an unpopular monk kind of priest type character who can then be like, I'm a cynical bastard. I'm all about the kind of the...
Do you see this face?
Right. But the idea that like this guy's cynical of life, but he believes fully in God. This guy's going to be cynical of probably everything and kind of like a skeptic in general. And he's going to be like, wait, you stopped at your skepticism and then fell into belief in God? Like, are you stupid? Like, where'd your questions stop? When did you stop asking questions? Like,
that's where I'm really excited to see what kind of characters Oxy ends up interacting with over the course of however long he has left to live.
I'm really excited to get to know Botany.
Because I feel like, one, they'll be interesting characters, but two, I feel like his, not passivity, but like just his temperament will be a really fun sounding board for all of the sort of like louder characters, if that makes sense.
Sure. Characters with more...
like the crazier stories and the, all that stuff.
Well, also, just more strongly held beliefs or convictions.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, that's kind of what makes Novak so interesting, is that he doesn't believe strongly in anything.
I love
either.
Getting to see his like little censorings of himself.
Yeah.
Like, well, no, hang on. Like, I'm not in the presence of people that I can just be like, I could kill you and do whatever, right? Like, he actually has somebody that he answers to a bit, and so he's like, okay, I'll phrase things this way,
Yeah, that's not what I mean. Like, chill, man. Like, I'm not saying it like that. But he still had that little look of like, whoa.
I might get in trouble if I keep just shooting arrows and stuff, so,
Yeah, Novak was really cool this episode. Even though he just kind of did the like, I'm going to let this guy go because of reason.
Yeah, it's odd because I feel like it's something where he both takes his job very seriously. He has a paycheck to earn. That being said, not pursuing them. That could be something where it's hey, I don't care about the outcome so much as just making sure that I'm, doing my job of killing the people that need to be killed and all of that, because otherwise I'll lose my job, right? And possibly my life. But, the fact that he's like, we don't need to worry about it. They can't read. Sure. But don't you
want to question them and see why they betrayed y'all? And
stuff
like
what they were planning to do anyways, because clearly they planned to do something,
Right. I could see this being a thing where Novak will have to deal with a little bit of a fallout from this, with the Damien guy being like, hey, he's always been a little bit cynical of the church and never really been like believing in this.
Right. And now
maybe we should investigate the investigator and, put some scrutiny under him. And I very much want to see that if we get even the remotest bit of Novak being like teased as an anti-hero kind of character in the future.
So the ED, now that it's like, Oxy is the main character right now, like, fully. That there was a blonde girl there with him and the priest.
Botany.
Botany, yeah. And I was like, okay, wouldn't that be crazy if that was Novak's daughter? because he said he was a dad and all that
you're
stuff.
right.
And so if it's something where that's how
So
it
they
sort of
time skipped, a good,
Right.
number of
right, because it's been 10 years since her
Yeah,
fall.
yeah,
So then
time,
it's like that's sort of the problem coming home to roost,
so she's
right?
like 20 or something now.
Yeah, she basically gets wrapped up in it, and then it's something where we can because the character we have the most time with / attachment to right now is Novak. Right. And so if it ends up being something where then it circles back around where we go through a lot of perspective characters and then eventually it's him, like that just feels right.
Well, it feels right, but it also feels like we're building an ensemble cast. You're right in that there is no overarching main character,
Right.
In the strictest sense. We're going to have basically arcs focused on individual characters at the very least until we get a third one.
Right.
That's
when
what I'm
a
going
pattern
with.
might emerge,
Yeah. We might not have that for a while, given that he successfully avoided death numerous times here, to the point of almost ridiculousness.
Oh, I'd say it full on went ridiculous. Like that was some like JoJo's like, the thin leather band is enough to support and catch a falling grown man's body weight. But then also like that bridge wasn't that tall. Like they were like by that point at the end, they were probably like what, 20 feet above the water at most?
No. I think they were about 40 feet up. The issue also is not that they're necessarily so high, it's that they're under a running river. The depth of the water could be like 2 feet.
Oh yeah, undertow can be. Oh
no, meaning like the water isn't necessarily that deep. So when you land, you're basically going to be breaking right into that and hit like hard rocks and everything.
Yeah, and I guess they don't know and all that stuff. But this is a ripe opportunity if they wanted Gross to come back because
it was kind of also like
it's super arbitrary.
It was a super arbitrary death. Yeah.
Having a rope bridge collapse, sure, that's one thing. Having a gigantic stone bridge collapse when and I guess it could just collapse all of a sudden just like that. Yeah, there's the vines and all that stuff. But like that is one of those sort of, act of God kind of things where it's just like, all right, we have this happen because the creator wants this to happen.
Right. Because of the story that we're in right now, it feels apropos that for Oxy, he should watch somebody right next to him die because of random happenstance in this, pretty cruel, unfeeling world.
Yep.
And it's okay, now you can't have someone else make the decision for you.
Right.
You now are forced to look at this. And at some point, maybe not now, Oxy, but at some point when you develop a little bit more wisdom, you'll look back at these days and realize that these two men gave their lives kind of for you. The point when the heretic dove in front of the sword.
Right.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
That guy knew his life had meaning.
And also that his life was going to end very soon anyway.
Oh, yeah. But no, just his life had meaning. He believed that. But Gross, full on, interceded with his sword, deflected the blade, and completely saved your life. But there's you guys weren't some best buddies, full on best friends forever before this here.
When he tried to get Novak to be like, hey, I'm not a part of this, it was because he legitimately was scared of Gross.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He was. And yet at the same time, Gross is after a while, he's like, I've been kind of forcing you into this. I want you to actually make a decision. Right? So, yeah.
But here we are. Let's meet Botany. I'm here for grumpy monk that probably acts old, but looks actually like he's
I'm
just
23.
He's like, I'm so old. I'm 24.
It's not 27. The years, it's the miles.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon and get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. See if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.